Hello. Chinese drama A Date with the Future EP 24 and 25. Jin Shishan introduced Xu Lei's identity to the students present and referred to her as his hero who saved him. Xu Lei felt a little shy and didn't understand why he had called her on stage earlier. Jin Shishan expressed his intention to let the whole world know that he already had a family member. That evening, they had hot pot at Xu Lei's house. Xu Lei and Jin Shishan playfully chased each other around the house, and Jin Shishan pinned her down on the sofa. Unexpectedly, Xu Lei's parents, who had come to visit, witnessed the scene. Jin Shishan's identity was forced to be revealed in this awkward situation. Learning that Jin Shishan was the station chief of the fire department and that his job was dangerous, Xu Lei's mother didn't look pleased. Jin Shishan didn't stay long using the excuse of having work at the station. He quickly left Xu Lei's home wearing his uniform. Xu Lei was very dissatisfied with her mother's attitude towards Jin Shishan. His mother declared that Xu Lei and Jin Shishan were not suitable for each other because his job was too dangerous, and she disagreed with her daughter being with him. Xu Lei spoke up for Jin Shishan, and Zhe's father intervened to ease the tense atmosphere between mother and daughter. He suggested inviting Jin Shishan to their house for a meal. Jin Shishan returned to the fire station where Lu Fangqi was eating instant noodles. When Lu Fangqi learned that Jin Shishan hadn't eaten dinner after returning from Xu Lei's house, he suddenly felt superior. Xu Lei called Jin Shishan to explain the plan of having dinner at her home at 6 p.m. Jin Shishan quickly agreed and took some of his colleagues from the station to the supermarket. It was his first visit to Xu Lei's home, so he definitely couldn't go empty-handed. Unexpectedly, the political commissar called Jin Shishan and asked him to attend an emergency meeting. The meeting lasted until late in the evening, and Zhe's mother was very angry. She demanded that Xu Lei and Jin Shishan break up, otherwise, she wouldn't recognize Xu Lei as her daughter anymore. Xu Lei argued with her mother, left with red eyes, and didn't eat anything. When the meeting ended, Jin Shishan hurriedly left. From Lu Fangqi, the political commissar learned that Jin Shishan was supposed to have dinner at Xu Lei's parents' house today, but the meeting delayed him. Zhe's mother already didn't approve of Jin Shishan being with Xu Lei, and now her impression of him would be even worse. Jin Shishan immediately called Xu Lei when he came out and heard her hoarse voice. He quickly drove to the location she had sent him. Jin Shishan embraced Xu Lei and comforted her. To her surprise, she felt relieved that he hadn't come today, otherwise her mother would have embarrassed him for sure. The next day, Jin Shishan carried something in his hands and went to Xu Lei's parents' house to apologize. Zhe's mother refused to see him, but Jin Shishan stood at their doorstep for the whole morning. With Zhe's father's persuasion, Zhe's mother took a step back and asked Zhe's father to tell Jin Shishan that she wouldn't see him today. Knowing her personality, Zhe's father knew she was stubborn and decided to open the door to let Jin Shishan go back first. Later, Zhe's father went alone to the fire station and watched Jin Shishan training. He coincidentally met the political commissar there. The political commissar spoke highly of Jin Shishan, and Zhe's father learned that Jin Shishan had disregarded his injured leg and risked his life to save Xu Lei when she was kidnapped. Back at home, Zhe's father tried to reason with Zhe's mother, but she not only refused to listen but also became more aggressive in her tone, which made Zhe's father angry, and he slammed the door and left. Lu Fangqi took Lu Zhe's advice on pursuing a girl, but Zhang Chu didn't buy into it. Zhe's father didn't return home all night, and Xu Lei received a call from her mother, so she hurriedly went back to the rented house and found her father sitting on the stairs. Zhe's mother quickly arrived and blamed Jin Shishan for taking away their daughter, and now their father. Xu Lei let her parents stay in the rented house and moved into Jin Shishan's home. Understanding her mother's personality, she decided to change her strategy and be proactive. Huo Yanzong wanted to meet Xu Lei but saw her being affectionate with Jin Shishan, so he locked himself in his house and started drinking heavily. Yu Shishi came to look for him. Yu Shishi took Huo Yanzong out and brought him for a facial treatment. Huo Yanzong, who hadn't slept all night, quickly fell asleep. Yu Shishi instructed the staff not to wake him up and had them do a soothing treatment for him. Although Yu Shishi had worked today and had rushed out from the set, her manager was probably going crazy by now. When Huo Yanzong woke up, he saw that Yu Shishi had applied a band-aid to the wound on his hand. He was touched but ended up saying many hurtful things to Yu Shishi. Yu Shishi was completely hurt by his words and left crying. Guo Yanzong watched her walk away and thought to himself that Yu Shishi hated herself, but it was better than loving herself. Mother Lin Quan called Shu Lai, but Shu Lai didn't answer. Jin Shishan persuaded Shu Lai, and she decided to go home and reconcile with her mother. Lin Quan was furious, but Shu Lai managed to keep her emotions in check and firmly expressed her commitment to Jin Shishan. Lin Quan couldn't understand why she insisted on being with Jin Shishan. Without thinking, Shu Lai blurted out that Jin Shishan had saved her in Huaning 10 years ago. It was then that the elderly couple learned that when they divorced 10 years ago, Shu Lai had run away to Huaning for some peace of mind. However, she ended up encountering an earthquake and was trapped in the ruins for a day and a night. It was Jin Shishan who saved her. Lin Quan cried uncontrollably as she looked at a family photo. She had always done things for the sake of her daughter, but in doing so, she had been hurting her. Xu Chengyan also told Lin Quan that he had visited the fire station and learned that Jin Shishan had saved Shu Lai twice before. Shu Lai talked to Jin Shishan through the iron fence, informing him that her mission had failed. She had argued with her mother after only a few words and now regretted it. Sometimes, Shu Lai couldn't understand why people always vent their worst emotions on the closest ones. Jin Shishan said that perhaps it was because the closest ones had no reservations. Shu Lai should communicate more with Lin Quan. Jin Shishan asked about her parents' situation, and Jin's grandfather learned that Shu Lai's mother opposed Jin Shishan's relationship with Shu Lai. He decided to personally intervene for his grandson. The next day, Grandpa Jin visited Shu Lai's parents. As a retired military man and with Jin Shishan's father being a firefighter, Grandpa Jin's perspective on the profession had gradually changed due to Jin Shishan. He pleaded with Shu Lai's parents to give Jin Shishan a chance. Jin Shishan and everyone were playing basketball when Shu Lai told him that her mother's attitude had changed after Grandpa's visit, and in a couple of days, he would be invited to their house. That day, Shu Lai brought Jin Shishan home, and he was very nervous about meeting her parents again. Fortunately, with the support of Xu Chengyan and Shu Lai, Jin Shishan had an opportunity to present himself in front of Lin Quan. Lin Quan softened her stance and allowed Jin Shishan to have dinner. This time Lin Quan had agreed to Shu Lai being in a relationship with Jin Shishan, but she still had some reservations and wanted to continue observing Jin Shishan. After dinner, Shu Lai's parents went back home, and Jin Shishan accompanied Shu Lai to pack her things. Jin Shishan's home was like a safe haven for Shu Lai, where she could always find comfort whenever something happened. The house was empty, so Shu Lai printed many photos she had taken of Jin Shishan, and hung them on the wall. Jin Shishan took a picture of her with the photo wall behind, and the last photo was a picture of them together. Jin Shishan kissed Shu Lai's cheek. At work, Shu Lai maintained a polite and distant demeanor towards him. Soon, team leader Chen was going to take a position in the provincial TV station, leaving his position vacant. He recommended Shu Lai as his successor to the higher-ups. During this evaluation period, Shu Lai didn't aim to stand out but hoped not to make any mistakes. Meanwhile, the list of interns being promoted was also about to be announced. Lu Fengqi sent a voice message to Zhang Chu, which was overheard by Jin Shishan. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.